We bring you the latest updates from the Pna Newsroom. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has returned from his visit to Japan, bringing home $13 billion worth of investment pledges to boost the Philippine economy. More on this from Marita Mawahe.
The Philippines brought home 13 billion pesos worth of investment pledges as President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. ended his official visit to Tokyo, Japan from February 8 to 12. During his meeting with Japanese business leaders, Marcos discussed the Philippines' improved business climate and investment environment. Among those who expressed interest were officials of Japanese shipping companies and associations who lead the world's second-largest maritime industry that employs over 31,000 Filipino seafarers.
Coming back, we carry with us over $13 billion in contributions and pledges to benefit our people, create approximately 24,000 jobs, and further solidify the foundations of our economic environment.
Marcos' meeting with the Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida was very fruitful as the two leaders committed to further strengthen the strategic partnership between the Philippines and Japan. They cemented the two countries' defense and security relations and signed bilateral agreements in the areas of agriculture and information communications technology. Several large-scale official development assistance projects such as the North-South Commuter Railway for Malolos-Tutuban and the NSCR project extension, the Metro Manila Subway project, and many more across the country have been discussed. Likewise, Marcos said he was honored to reaffirm the close friendship and cultural ties of Manila and Tokyo during his imperial audience with Emperor Naruhito and Empress Masako of Japan. Apart from setting up shop in the country, 3 Japanese private firms have committed to invest in the proposed Maharlika investment fund. There were also pledges that came from the Japanese government, financial institutions, and private sector. Marcos earlier said the proposed MIF would be reviewed by Congress to make sure that its establishment would reap significant benefits for the country. The MIF will be used to invest on a strategic and commercial basis using the investable funds of select government financial institutions, government contributions, declared dividends of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, and other funding sources. Meanwhile, Marcos thanked overseas Filipino workers in Japan for their significant contributions to the growth of the economy through remittances. In his meeting with the Filipino community, he also praised them for promoting the Philippines through their kindness and diligence.
At ang aking pangarap talaga ay masabi na natin na sapat ang trabaho sa Pilipinas at pagka nagkaroon ng OFW, pagka isang Pilipino ay nag-abroad para magtrabaho, ito ay dahil pinili niya na pumunta sa abroad, hindi na pilitang pumunta sa abroad dahil may trabaho, may magandang buhay sa ating bansa. Yan po ang ating pangarap, yan po ang ating hinahabol para sa Pilipinas.
For the Pna Newsroom, I am Marita Mawahe.
Meanwhile, the Philippines will review a proposed trilateral defense and security deal with 2 of its closest allies, namely the United States and Japan. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. said fostering alliances to maintain stability was one of the issues raised in Tokyo, taking into consideration the South China Sea issue and the Ukraine conflict, among others. In a joint statement, Marcos and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida have agreed to strengthen the two countries' defense and security relations. This will be done through strategic port calls and aircraft visits, transfer and cooperation on defense equipment and technology, and capacity building. Earlier, Senator Jinggoy Estrada, chairperson of the Defense and Security Committee, said the government must first ensure the protection and promotion of the country's national interest. Senator Francis Tolentino, vice chair of the Foreign Relations Committee, said the Senate should be able to fine-tune the dynamics of this arrangement as the president sets the country's security and foreign relations agenda. The Philippine Interagency Humanitarian Contingent in Türkiye provided Turkish local volunteers with quick orientations on international search and rescue standards. This came after rescuers in the Philippines noted some local volunteers using backhoes in their search. The Office of Civil Defense said the team observed that locals use backhoes indiscriminately in locating victims with no regard for safety procedures. As a result, they provided quick orientations on internationally accepted search and rescue principles. The Philippine contingent team in Syria is made up of 82 people. 30 are from the Department of Health, 33 from the Armed Forces of the Philippines, 9 from the Metro Manila Development Authority, 8 from the Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority, and 2 from the Philippine National Police. They are also divided into 2 groups, the Emergency Medical Team and the Search and Rescue Team, and are currently stationed in Andiyaman, which is 4 hours by bus from the city of Adana in southern Turkey. The team brought with them medical supplies and equipment, field hospital tents, personnel shelters, search, rescue, and retrieval equipment, food rations, and engineering tools and equipment for collapsed structures. Following the suspension of deployment of first-time overseas Filipino workers to the Gulf state, the Philippine Embassy said a joint committee meeting will be held between the Philippines and the Kuwaiti government to resolve the matter as soon as possible. Philippine Chargé d'Affaires to Kuwait Jose Cabrera III earlier said the suspension only applies to domestic workers who have yet to work in Kuwait. He also said that the Department of Migrant Workers is currently retrieving reforms and measures to ensure the welfare and safety of domestic workers. Cabrera and Sami Essa Johar Hayat, Kuwait's Assistant Foreign Minister for Asia Affairs, agreed to strengthen ties between the Philippines and Kuwait through increased engagement. They also agreed to address all concerns expeditiously and amicably in order to achieve mutually acceptable outcome. And that is the latest and the biggest stories from the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, visit our webpage or head on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. We are also shown on the social media pages of the Presidential Communications Office and on Radio Pilipinas RP1. Stay tuned for more news updates. I am William Theo. We tell stories that inspire change.